First of all, your product has to be banging.
That
The
part.
quality has to be up there to be able to compete in that market.
Yeah.
And then when that is sorted, you have to actually ask yourself, are you trying to be an African brand in an international market or just a brand in an international market? And not to call some people else, but some of you designers, you like to copy other people. Yes, Lagos. I need to stop it. It's not good.
This is a warning.
Test yourself.
Test.
If you're really a designer, let's see your creativity.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're not, if you call yourself a designer but you copy stuff, what are you? You're just a tailor.
You're a fraud.
Right.
Not only are you, you're a thief.
A thief. Eki Ogunbor is an award-winning fashion and beauty editor and content creator with almost 100,000 followers across social media platforms. She has collaborated with notable brands across various industries such as MAC Cosmetics, Lancome, Andrea Yama, Chivita, and so many more. She is the Group Executive Director for Branding and Communications at Nosak Group, Africa's biggest ethanol producers. She is also the brain behind Fashionverse Africa, a new media platform for African creatives in fashion, and the founder of Kisara, a seasonal slow fashion brand that specializes in handcrafted resort accessories, primarily handbags. In 2017, Eki launched the Belenija Style website and was the leading digital media platform's founding editor, solidifying her impact in the digital fashion landscape. This pivotal endeavor culminated in her receiving the esteemed Fashion Writer of the Year award at the Abrian Style and Fashion Awards in 2018. When she's not writing or creating content, Eki spends her time speaking about the creative industry in Nigeria, notably at Africa Next, formerly Social Media Week Lagos, Belenija Style Digital Summit, Beauty in the Motherland, and the Richer Woman Conference. And here we are. Hi, Eki.
Hi, Widow.
Welcome to the show. I know you're nervous, so hold my hand.
Okay, good.
Let's go.
Don't mind me.
No.
I'll be laughing, ball of nerves.
I know, me too. But we'll work off each other.
Okay.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
Good
We
to see
already
you
had
as
this
well.
chit-chat. I know.
Yes, earlier.
Earlier, we already
We
had this
did.
chit chat, but then, it's nice to let everyone know that you're here.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to have you here to talk
Happy
about
to
things
be here.
we care about.
Fashion and money. Yes.
So tell me, when did you fall in love with fashion? When did that happen?
If I can tell you, I remember the day and the time, I'll be lying.
Right.
But I feel like I've always just liked it growing up because Momsy was very stylish,
Love
and
it.
of course she started dressing me before I could dress myself.
Right.
So, she would always wear, colorful, bold prints, shoulder pads, now,
Yes.
back in the day, and then dress me in those, and to give me sweets and to give me cake dresses with colors and Ankara and so many things. So, but when I went to uni was when I would say that I came into my own as like a fashion girl, where I could dress myself, I could shop for myself and experiment by myself.
Right.
And yeah, I would say in 2013, 2014.
We have a date, people.
Yeah. Around then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when you were like, okay, I like this. I need to play dress up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Towards the end of secondary school, you're going for socials now.
Yes,
Social,
of course.
exactly.
You have
to
to
put that fit together.
Yes.
But then when I went to uni and I went to school in the UK and people there were just dressing it's like a mesh.
Of culture.
Yes, so
fashion
it's really
styles.
opened my eyes and broadened my
Right.
mind to see, the different kind of cultures and
things that you
styles
put
and
together,
exactly.
yeah.
So I was really inspired.
I like that. So at what point did you think, people make money on this?
So I knew that, of course, fashion was a very lucrative industry just based off of someone who wears
Everything,
clothes, growing up, everybody's wearing clothes. Everybody's a stakeholder in the fashion industry, whether you like it or not, So, but when I knew that this was something I wanted to make money out of, or I could, was when I started my blog. And, I just used to post it because it was more of a creative outlet for me because I did accounting and finance and I'm just not that girl. So I needed something creative to do to kind of find a balance,
Right.
which is interesting because that's what I'm doing now, like doing corporate and my creative. Exactly. So back then started the blog and I was just posting based on my outfits and where I got them. But then brands now started asking me to wear their things and then wanted to pay me for it. So I was like, oh, okay. Now I need a rate card. Now I need a bunch of services. Right. Now I need to do this, and like package it like a business. So that's how it started.
That's how it started.
Yeah.
I love that. So would you say your experiences have shaped you enough to be able to tell, okay, these are the things you can look out for when it comes to like fashion branding?
I believe so.
Okay.
Especially because before I started my fashion brand, I was interacting with a lot of brands, both on and offline.
Right.
So
you asked a lot of questions.
Yes, and even before I started at Bella Niger, I was working for a women's wear brand called Exclamation. So don't they hear it? Yes, so after I graduated from uni, NYC and all of that, I joined a women's wear brand, Exclamation, started working there. And then after that was when I now went to the digital space with Bella Niger and became like a full-on editor and all that.
So what are the key elements of building a strong fashion brand identity?
Okay, so I think in today's like digital space, community is so important. Like everybody says, oh, social media. It's not just about posting pretty pictures and giving lifestyle, but the community you build is actually what matters most when you're trying to build a solid brand, because they're the ones who buy into what it is you're creating. They are the ones who help you spread the gospel of your brand, with word of mouth to help you get new customers. They are the ones who will support you when maybe people don't understand your messaging sometimes, And I think with building that community, you have to take into account your storytelling, because yes, everybody knows that, okay, you have this fashion brand and all of that, and there's a story, but if you're not telling your story, nobody's going to connect with you. And if you don't connect, you can't build that community. So storytelling is a big part of that community building, and just telling people about your brand in a way that they can relate to what it is that you're selling. So they're not just buying the product because, it looks nice, it looks pretty, but like, are you connecting to a sentiment that, resonates with your community? And storytelling.
So a lot of people say storytelling, and I hear that a lot. Yeah, and it's right, it's true.
Absolutely.
I just got a bit about the story right now.
Yes.
So, but when people say that, most people that are trying to venture into this business don't really know how to go about telling that story. Do they do once upon a time, I was this and now I'm making clothes, or do they just take it from anywhere? Or do they have to sit down and draft a story to tell, so they know, like, okay, I want to engage with these people emotionally, so I'm going to tell it this way? Do they have to do all that work, or do they just start talking about what it is that they're doing and just let it run like that? How does this storytelling thing work?
I think, like, generally for different people, it could be different approaches, of course, because we're different as human beings in general. And don't run away from the work. It is work to have to tell your story from the onset, from the beginning to where it is now.
You have to be vulnerable as well.
You have to be vulnerable. You have to be open to that, right? So if it is that it's a collection, like, of course, most fashion brands work with collections with time, except you're like, I don't know, ready-to-wear brand where you have like drops, but you still have drops. But anyways, whatever inspires the design for that collection, tell the story about it, like, how did it start? What did you see that even made you like, I don't know, the ocean, for example, Banke Kuku? Like, what is the story you're trying to tell? Like, okay, I was on the beach one day and I felt this and that, and then I saw this and it inspired me to create this. And then from there, you just keep telling that story, Or when I was 5 years old, also reminded me of the time I went to the aquarium with my dad. And do you get? Tell us that story. Everybody has a dad. They're going to connect with that. Everybody knows what fish are. Do you get? Like they know the ocean. So there's already like touch points to connect with.
Yeah.
But if you tell that story from your perspective, you are bringing a whole new point of view to someone who otherwise wouldn't have known that you had this sentimental connection with your dad the same way I have that. Or even someone who doesn't have that can admire that and be like, oh, I wish I had that. Do you get what I mean?
Right.
So it can be that simple, just telling the story in a way that's authentic to you and also connects to the collection.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. About this community building, how does one go about building a community? If, let's say you have friends, but you know your friends are different from you. How do you build a community when you know the people that are closest to you may not even be part of that community? Is it through just telling your story or people will find you? Is it that kind of thing? Or you have to go out and say, join my community? It's on WhatsApp.
There's that aspect of it where it's like, hard on bold marketing where it's like, okay, this is what I sell. If you like it. And then there's the storytelling part where it's like you're carrying them on the journey as to how you created this product or whatever. But there's also power in collaboration. You can reach a different audience just by collaborating with someone who
already
already reaches those people, and just find a sweet spot. Of course, the collab definitely has to be like mutually beneficial, where it's like, this is the part of this brand that's coming in, this is part of the other brand, and you just find a sweet spot where things blend, and then you can now sell it to both audiences. And
so you could feed off that.
Exactly. Partnership is important.
Okay, so for me, learning about community just happened not too long ago for me, because I started with music and then I went to film. And for me, film was where I started learning about
music, actually.
No, we are back in the music. That's the thing. That's what I'm actually getting to.
Okay.
So with the film thing, I learned that you can make friends on set, and that friendship can move beyond just being
your network.
And before you know it, it's like, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and those things stayed with me. And then I discovered my people back in music. So I was like, okay, build community. There's a community already.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, so these are my people.
Yes.
So anytime I go for events and I see people that listen to the same type of music that I listen to, it's like, we connect. And it's like, hey, what do you think about this? Oh my God, I love it too. Wow, no, you're serious? Okay, let's do this together. So that's how I've learned about collaborations, as well as joining or being a part of a community, where I guess I can also build mine.
Yes, exactly.
So communities
it starts from somewhere.
Into other communities, and it can be like a whole universe,
ecosystem of just creative.
Baby. Okay, so we've talked about storytelling, we've talked about building communities and how that helps scale your brand forward. But let's say I have all that now. I have a business, it's running. And I want to take it up a notch. I want to take it international. What are the things that I have to do to be able to get my business from ground zero, which is local, to an international platform? What do we have to do?
That's a very good question.
Thank you.
More so because a lot of like Nigerian African brands are doing so well overseas, like internationally. And I feel like it starts with, first of all, your product has to be banging.
That part.
The quality has to be up there to be able to compete in that market.
Yeah.
And then when that is sorted, you have to actually ask yourself, are you trying to be an African brand in an international market, or just a brand in an international market? Because there's a difference, right? And if you want to compete in that field, you have to know the rules and play by the rules, right? You have to factor in the costs that are associated with, imports, exports, duties, all these things, right? So that it doesn't affect your bottom line at the end of the day financially, right? You have to take those into account and do your research. What are the international brands doing? What can you adopt to your own like strategies? How can you make those different, I don't know, marketing ideas your own in an authentic way that now becomes like your own unique selling point, right? It's important to of course, do your research, see examples from what other brands are doing, but then how do I make it my own, right?
Right.
We're inspired every day. We see things every day, but it doesn't mean we have to copy verbatim what other people are doing, right? So I think doing your research, learning the rules of the game and how to play in that field, making sure your products are of good quality so that you're able to compete as well, and being open to feedback, because I feel like sometimes, we can be closed off. We don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to like let other people's feedback water down our unique voice.
Because you tend to get that a lot.
Exactly.
Right.
And there's criticism as well. Like some people give it positive and negative, but you have to be able to take those things in and decipher, okay, what is it that is going to affect my brand? What is it that is going to help me improve? How is this going to, affect us in the long run? And critically look at those things and see what it is you're going to adapt and make changes to the brand to be able to compete in those global audiences. Yeah, global markets, sorry.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's an audience.
It's all the same thing, yes. But
It's all
the
the
number one thing, if you want to take anything away from this question or this answer, your quality. I'm sorry, you cannot take clothes, bags, shoes, and they're falling apart, but you want to compete with, I don't know, Gucci, LV, like, come on. So the quality number one has to, because even though you don't have those strategies in place, maybe you hire someone or whatever to handle those things, the fact that the quality of the product is already up to par, it creates, it does the work itself.
Right.
It's like, I don't know, 50% of the job done, right? And then the rest of it is, your research and the things you do by yourself. But like once the product speaks for itself, you don't always have to do too much. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. So in that avenue now of creating top quality things, let's talk about sustainability. Because I don't know if a lot of people focus on that and they just produce stuff regardless and not necessarily care about the environment and likes, right? So how important is sustainability in the ethical sourcing of today's fashion landscape?
How important? It's very important.
It's very important.
In the beginning, like a few years back, when the sustainability conversation started, and people were like, "Oh, it's just a gimmick." People are just saying, "Yes." It's when you say it's a lot that it will become, exactly, it will stick, and people start to like actually do research and find out, okay, how can I actually make my brand more sustainable? What are the practices that I can, put in place to make it more ethical? And it's so important because what are we leaving behind for our children? People who are coming after us. We can't be so selfish to just think, okay, yeah, I'm wearing fur, I'm wearing sequins,
right?
And you actually need to sit down and think about the kind of life you're trying to live for the future, and even live for yourself right now, because whether we like it or not, the mistakes we've made in the past, we're paying for them now. We're talking about it like just now. It's so hard. It's hard. It's part of it, like what are we wearing? And fast fashion, hate to say it, it plays a very big part of, the overall pollution in, the fashion industry, and how it just seeps into other parts, and we're paying for it. It's consumerism. Even like aside fashion, like just even the beauty products, the skincare, it's all plastic. And we need to be out. We need to be aware of these things. And yes, so bringing it back to fashion, for a brand to take these things into consideration, I even think gives them like a unique selling point, where it's like, oh, this brand actually cares about the environment. Or maybe the more I support this brand, I will look like I care about the environment. Do you get? So it also makes me feel like, okay, I'm doing something good for the planet, and I'm supporting this brand in the process, so I think it is something that brands should really seriously look into. I know people are tired of hearing sustainable, but like we said, the more you say it, the more it will stick. And it's important, let it stick, keep talking about it. So I hope to see more sustainable brands. Like recently, I heard that London Fashion Week created like a list of like rules and regulations for brands who are going to participate this year, and how they have to have like a certain a percentage of their pieces,
brands.
exactly, a certain percentage of their pieces,
Eco-friendly.
exactly,
Yeah.
eco-friendly and all of that, and a bunch of other rules that also supports like diversity for women, Black people, different ethnic groups and stuff like that. So I feel like it's something that Lagos Fashion Week should also think of adopting because
Right.
the, Lagos is polluting. Eh?
It is polluted for
Sis,
real.
so why not start now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen our senior brothers and sisters overseas doing this, so
What's stopping
why
us?
not? What's
Because
stopping us?
if you ask me, I say Lagos is in the international community
Absolutely,
because
absolutely.
the fashion speaks for itself. It
Yes,
travels globally.
yes. The
Music
nightlife,
travels, the
yes.
nightlife,
Just
everything is
December. What?
lifting.
No, we're up
So
there,
we
yeah.
are
And
up there.
kudos to the brands who already do these sustainable
Yeah.
practices. Like,
I wonder about Kisara for a second. I know Kisara does
oh
that.
yeah, sometimes we try as much as possible to use, natural fibers
Yeah.
without anything. And then we try to also reduce waste. So a
See.
lot of, well, the new collection that I'm working on now is with Ashoki.
Ooh.
Shameless plug. So we're trying to limit the amount of waste that we're using. The waste, we put it back into production. Now we're working on the patchwork design to
Oh.
use those strips.
Right.
So yeah, as much as I can. Yeah,
People need to find
using.
innovative ways to reduce the amount of waste.
Exactly. Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
I like the fact that your brand is you can
Looking
TikTok
into
and
those
do. You
things.
know?
Yes, exactly. Yes,
That's the energy that we
yes,
like up in
yes.
here.
I
Okay.
mean, there's always room for improvement,
Of course.
but we're not backing down.
Of course.
We accept the challenge. Yeah.
Energy. Keep going.
Yeah.
Let's talk about e-commerce and the digital market.
Mhm.
So what role has that played in the success of like fashion brands these days? Has it helped the cause or has it like dampened the whole?
E-commerce
Yeah.
absolutely help the cause.
Let's talk
Well,
about it.
let's talk about money.
Yeah.
Because we spoke about earlier, being able to compete in a global
International,
market,
yeah.
but to be able to get there, it's not about a brick and mortar store. Do you get? It's e-commerce. It's everything is online these days. So partnering with like retail stores online also helps a business, to show up in those spaces that they will ordinarily not have opportunities to do that physically. So and then of course with that comes like the digital marketing and the other like storytelling things that you have to
Yeah.
think about building the community. So I think it's really helps.
It's really
It's really
helped.
helped. Yeah. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
would you say a person can actually scale forward by just having an e-commerce store and collaborating with people online without having a physical
Absolutely. I feel like there are a lot of brands that already do that without having like a physical store because there's a lot of cost associated with that. Like
physical stores? Yeah.
rent, what? And then of course like power generator, like keeping the place lit,
yeah.
and then even the design, like when people enter the store, how do they feel? What's the experience? That costs a lot of money.
does.
And most, startup brands don't have that much money to do that. So they just, start online. Like even me, say, Kisara does not have a store, but we have a retail partner
Right.
that we stock
your
stock at,
products.
yes, physically, But majority of our sales are online. Yeah.
Okay, so the digital world is good for fashion. I like
Absolutely.
that. Okay.
And
So-
even like, sorry to quote, even besides, the e-commerce bit of it, it's also getting inspiration because the eye has to travel to be able to explore and
see things
yes,
and draw inspiration.
exactly.
Yeah.
But not everybody can afford to travel, like physically, So how am I going to go to Paris? I'm going to go on the internet. I'm going to search for these things, Pinterest, various platforms where you can like get information, inspiration and information, to inform your creativity. Of course, reading books and watching things, listening to things, it helps. Yeah. So digital, like the online space,
Was a good thing.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I like that. Right. So I want to talk about fast fashion and slow fashion. What are they? Because for people that don't know the difference, fashion is fashion. So what's the difference?
Okay, so back in the day when maybe we didn't have access to a lot of these like ready to wear brands and you had to go to tailor to make these, to your specifications and you're going for an event. I feel like that's more slow fashion where it's like bespoke and it's very intentional, like it's made for you. And I think that that's what, as Nigerians, that was the culture like way back then. But now that, you know, the Zara's, the H&M's, the ASOS, the Sheins,
Right.
that is what I would say is absolutely fast fashion. I know there are some brands here in Lagos that now do that kind of fast fashion where
They've
it's
kind
like you
of
can, yes, you can
worked their
find
way
like your
into it.
sizes once you go into the store, you know, it's available in so many colors and all of that. And you know, like we mentioned before, it's the consumerism where it's like you're just encouraging people to buy, 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 buy. But are you really putting thought in what you're
You're
buying?
making,
You know, it's like, how many white shirts am I really going to have?
You never have enough white shirts.
But are we like thinking of the quality that we're buying
True.
so that it lasts longer, so we don't buy too many, so we don't also spend too much and create so much pollution? Like, do you get what I mean? It all feeds into it, like with the whole fast fashion narrative. But I feel like a lot of brands, well, let me not say a lot, a few brands now are rethinking their processes and trying to go back to this whole slow fashion thing to help with the sustainability
So
conversation.
how would that work? Because if we're doing slow fashion and I have a show to do, I need a white shirt. And I can't get in there and get a white shirt ASAP. I have to get someone to make it for me. That means I have to plan ahead and think before and get it before. But sometimes
it doesn't always work.
It doesn't always work like that. So how does it work? Like,
so for me, how I try to navigate it, because of course, like I said, like everybody's a stakeholder. If you wear clothes, you're a stakeholder in the fashion industry, like it's or not. I have basics. So once you have your closet staples, like your white shirts, your jeans, and all of this, then you can work from there. So it helps to put thought in what you're buying to make it intentional for like your outfits and what you're putting together. Then you can now decide, okay, this other, I don't know, denim jacket, do I really need it? Is it, you know, is it a necessity for me? Okay, yes, I want to, you know, serve looks and stuff. But I also try as much as possible to put like sequins. I only have one sequin top in my closet because of course number one, what is it? It's plastic, it's non-biodegradable, all of those things, you know. So I try to put as much thought into what I buy and put in my closet and like how many times I can wear, you know, there's this thing, rewear, cost per wear, exactly. You know, you have to think of that as well. Like, oh, how many times how many wears can I actually get out of this piece? You know?
That part.
Yeah.
Because I find some people have the ego thing of I only wear things once. You know,
I'm not in that boat. Me, I will repeat. I will rewear. I will re-rock.
Right. You should. I've always been a chairman of rocking stuff. I mean, but then with the whole culture of watching people live digitally and watching lifestyles and seeing people wear something different every time they step on the red carpet and things like that, it kind of makes people feel like, oh my God, I can't repeat clothes. I guess if they're listening to that.
Yes, exactly.
But most people fall victim.
Who are you trying to be?
Who are you trying to be?
You know?
Right.
What kind of life are you trying to live? Because I was watching, there's this documentary on Netflix called Buy Now. Oh my Lord. Have you watched it?
No, I haven't.
You need to. Like,
I will.
I've always been like, oh, sustainable. But when I watched that documentary, I was like, God, I shouldn't even be drinking bottled water. I shouldn't even be like, there's so many things that they just show you. And it's obvious. It's just that a lot of the time we're blind to it just because, oh, well, we're in this bubble. You know, it's the lifestyle online, you know. We don't pay attention to these things, you know, but it's so important because in the documentary they showed a beach in Ghana with clothes, heaps and mountains of clothes, old clothes, Crocs, shoes, bags, and some of them were actually still okay. Some of them still had the tags on them.
What? Stop it. Where's
but somebody bought it too. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Exactly. So what is the point? Honestly, if you haven't watched it, if anybody, you have to watch that documentary.
Definitely will.
You know, when I watched, I was preaching it to all my friends. Have you watched Buy Now? Buy Now, Buy Now. You have to go and watch it because it was jarring, you know, and eventually these things seep into what we eat, what we drink, and it enters our body. Microplastics.
Yeah.
You know, later when we are sick and we know the kind of country we live in, unfortunately.
Yeah. But I think the country is kind of making an effort to minimize these things, because I just noticed it recently, like bags that we get from the grocery stores, they've stopped,
Yes.
you know, giving
Which is
bags.
good. Yeah,
Which
it's
is
a
good.
very, very, very good thing.
Considering how many years we've been on this thing, and then the styrofoam
The
thing.
styrofoam. Oh my God.
that
Because
one
our takeout culture here is
is
on the rise.
yes,
You know,
through the roof.
I mean, it's nothing compared to like our counterparts abroad, but like, it's on the rise. So like, you're seeing plastic plates, styrofoam, nylons everywhere.
over,
And it's pollution.
True. So we have to try and stop pollution, or maybe recycle and turn them into clothes.
Exactly.
Or something that are wearable.
Yes, that are wearable. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's okay. So how do you protect your brand from counterfeiting and intellectual property theft?
I've never had that problem.
But you know,
But, yeah.
you know how we talked about earlier. Okay, get into that. You know how we talked about earlier, like people get inspiration online and then you go make clothes and things like that. So that's the fashion. So in that type of situation where someone sees,
even fast fashion copies.
When
Zara water down what they've seen on, like, I don't know, Balmain's or Balenciaga's runway.
Right. So how do you protect your intellectual property, your design?
There are laws and like regulations
for
that
fashion?
protect. Yes.
Really?
I know that internationally, if you are trying to remake something that a brand has done before, if you change between 5 and 7 things on it, you are free to go. But if you don't, then you have a case in court, and then you sue for that. But like, yes, I know that there are some rules that protect.
But there's nothing new under the sun now. So how are we gonna?
I know, but then that's when we have to test our creativity.
That's
really,
right.
Because till tomorrow, there are still new things being made. People are taking these little things that may not seem new, and they are putting their spin on it and making it
new.
Jiggy.
So still like an artist. Basically.
Exactly, like an artist, you know. And not to call some people else, but some of you designers, you like to copy other people.
Yeah.
I need to stop it. It's not good.
This is a warning.
Test yourself.
If
you're really a designer, let's see your creativity.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're not, if you call yourself a designer but you copy stuff, what are you? You're just a tailor.
You're a fraud.
Right.
Not only are you're a thief.
A thief. True.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah,
so
but for me personally, for Kisara, we have our designs trademark. And what I try to do, like I said, testing my creativity, is look at what is in the market and what is missing. What's the niche? What can I create for myself that another brand has not done?
Okay.
Challenge yourself.
True.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know another brand hasn't done it yet? Do you
research? Yeah, and of course, as a fashion girl like me, I'm always looking for the next brand, even in another country, like just always looking for something. And another thing that can help is your community as well.
Right.
You can get feedback, but you have to be open to it because some people don't know how to talk.
Okay, so in this being open, don't you risk your ideas being taken?
Of course, every day you are risking your ideas being taken.
So it's a risk you must take.
Yes.
Okay.
If you want to be creative, if you want to get out your ideas and your creativity, you have to risk it being stolen. Okay. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But even when it does, there are ways around it. Like you know,
we
said laws sometimes protect these things, but it shouldn't also stop you from getting out your ideas and your creative, because we're creatives, like we can't just sit and be idle. The more you work, the more ideas come. You know, you have to keep pushing.
You have to keep pushing it out. Okay, I like that. Okay, so this is my final question. What advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs that are trying to get into the fashion space? How do they navigate through everything? What do they look out for? What do they do?
Okay, I feel like first of all, they should listen to this podcast.
Yes, they should.
Absolutely. So suggest it to a friend.
To tell another friend.
Exactly.
To tell a friend. Yeah.
And looking at what we discussed today, the quality, number one, of
Yes.
your production, your products, they have to be up to par to be able to compete in the market.
Right.
And then leveraging on your network, your community, first your personal community before you even build your brand's community. So leveraging on your personal community, your network, find out who you can partner with. Oh, I don't know how to do my finances. You know somebody with the finance. Oh, I don't know how to do marketing. You know somebody who does that. Oh, I need this, I need that. Leverage on your community and test yourself. Don't be afraid to be creative. Yes, we've spoken about people who steal designs, but that should not stop you from challenging yourself to give more of yourself out there. We only live once.
True.
If you don't get out your ideas and your dreams now, when are you going to have the opportunity to do that, right? So yes, and also be open to the feedback you're going to get from the people in your community.
Right.
Because not everybody may believe in what you're trying to do, but that's when discernment comes in and you have to decipher between, okay, this is positive feedback, this is negative feedback, oh, this person just a hater, and then be open to being vulnerable with them, to take the feedback, to correct your processes and the things that you need to do to be able to help you compete better. And storytelling, like we've discussed. All these things I've said is part of your story, it's part of your journey.
Story, yes.
And if you don't tell it, nobody's going to know. So you have to be able to communicate that with your storytelling and your branding. And that is what now builds your external brand community. Once you have that community, you are, I won't say as good as gold, but we have to go back to the quality of your product.
Right.
Once you have that quality on par, and then you've been able to build that community through your storytelling and your brand representation and all of that, you create that brand sentiment where it's like people are talking about your brand and they're like, oh, the quality of this product that I bought from this brand is this and that and that, and then word of mouth travels, and then it continues to grow, and your brand reach, your market continues to grow. And then if it's that you want to enter another market, like we've said, collaboration, partnerships, very important. But you should remember to also bring value for the value you're trying to get. It has to be mutually beneficial. And then when you have that sorted, if you're trying to enter the global market space, like we said, think about if you're trying to be an African brand in a global market or a brand in a global market, period. What are the people that you are trying to be like? What are they doing? How can you do that as well? How can you do it better? Not even exactly the same thing. And keep doing your research, keep exploring, keep reading, keep listening, watching, and learning things to see how you can improve on your creativity, improve on your practices. And last but not least, don't forget to build a sustainable, ethical brand.
That's all, period.
It's the most important thing, honestly, because, our planet is suffering for the mistakes we've been making. But now that we're trying to correct it, hopefully it's not too late. But the new brands that are coming in need to know these things. Don't make the mistakes that others have. Exactly. Like start the correction now, make those changes, adopt those positive practices that will help the planet in the future.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so beautiful. I got all that, and I'm going to put that into my whole being.
Yes, absolutely. And please watch that documentary.
I will.
Buy now. BUY NOW.
I love it.
Yes.
Eki, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks
today.
for having me.
This was so beautiful.
Fun. Yes,
it was so insightful.
I love talking fashion.
I love it. I love listening to you talk.
Yes, thank you.
See, we did it.
Yes, we did. I'm glad. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us on Creative Money. Today we had Eki sitting with us. And don't forget to join us again. Same time, same place. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye. Eki, my love, what advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs? I had to get it. Listen, guys, you're gonna have to take it like that, okay? No.
Oh, good.
Yeah, what's possible? Yeah.
Oh, yes. That's the best part.
Exactly. Hi, Eki.
Hi.
Okay, so this is my final question. What advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs? They're trying to get into the fashion space. How do they navigate
First of all, they should listen to this podcast.
Yes, they should.
Absolutely. So suggest it to a friend.